The armed forces of Ukraine have struck the positions of the invading Russian army near the city of Lyman in Donetsk region and in a forest strip in Luhansk region where the Russian forces were located. As a result of drone and artillery strikes, the positions were set on fire and destroyed. Vehicles, weapons and ammunition, personal belongings, and medical supplies belonging to the occupiers were destroyed in the area. The occupiers have appealed to volunteers, asking for aid to be collected for them. It should be noted that in recent days, after a strike by the Ukrainian army on a Russian position located in the occupied part of Kherson region, a fire broke out. As a result of the fire, the occupiers' bunkers, vehicles, ammunition, and personal belongings were completely destroyed.
Доброго времени суток. Хотим обратиться к волонтерам. Недавно мы подверглись массированной атаке со стороны противника, и весь наш лагерь был уничтожен. Было уничтожено все: личные вещи, оружие, автомобили и медикаменты. Если кто-то может чем-то помочь, мы будем очень благодарны.
Ukraine is waging war intelligently and coolly, turning the Russian offensive into a bloody and futile exhaustion of forces. This was openly stated by Z-patriot Igor Strelkov-Girkin, who is currently serving time in a Russian prison for publicly criticizing the Russian dictator. A letter written by Strelkov in prison was published on his Telegram channel. In it, the RF Z-patriot states that Russia is suffering serious setbacks on the battlefield. According to Strelkov, Russian troops are achieving some successes at the front, but they are too small to influence the course of the war. Reading the cheerful reports about the successes of our troops, I smile bitterly, he writes, emphasizing that there is no talk of a real breakthrough. He describes the actions of the Ukrainian armed forces as a tactic of trading territory for the enemy's time and resources, where Ukrainian troops deliberately retreat from insignificant positions, avoid encirclement, and at the same time inflict painful blows on the Russian army. The enemy cares about only two things: maintaining the integrity of the front and inflicting maximum losses on us, while causing as few of his own as possible, he admits. The situation is especially difficult, according to him, in the Sumy direction, where the Ukrainian armed forces are actively counter-attacking and pushing back Russian forces. In 2 months of the offensive, our successes are minimal, he states, adding that now the initiative is again on the Ukrainian side. He concludes that there will be no victory for the Russian Federation in the foreseeable future. The Russian army was unable to achieve a decisive advantage, and the Ukrainian armed forces have almost caught up with the Russians in combat capabilities. It should be noted that Igor Strelkov is a figure who stood at the origins of the seizure of Crimea and the war in Donbass. However, in recent years, he has become a harsh critic of the Kremlin and Putin personally. He was imprisoned for accusing the Russian dictator of being unable to wage war until victory. Strelkov predicted a counterattack by the Ukrainian armed forces. First, they will take out our air defense. According to Strelkov, the Russian offensive has become bogged down and has not achieved its stated goals. He believes that Ukrainian forces could move into an active phase of the counter-offensive as early as this month. I assume that a counterattack, or even counterattacks, by the enemy is possible, he wrote. As potential directions, Strelkov named Donbass and the area of the Tendrovskaya and Kinburnskaya Spits, where, according to him, the Russian army went too far from fortified positions and turned out to be vulnerable. He paid special attention to the tactics of the Ukrainian armed forces, suggesting that before the main attack, the Ukrainian military could launch a massive fire strike against Russian air defense systems using drones, missiles, and possibly F-16 fighters. Before the strike, the enemy will probably try to take out our air defense and other means of fire support with a massive strike by UAVs, aircraft including F-16s, and various missile systems, he added. In the town of Krasny Kut, in the Saratov region of Russia, FPV drones that carry explosives were launched from a car that looks like a house on wheels. Focus writes, Russians are asked to fix such cases in other regions and report them to federal law enforcement agencies, Russian telegram channels wrote. Krasny Kut, Saratov region, report FPV launches from a car as June the 1st on airfields. Observe precautions, the message said. Subsequently, similar warnings appeared also for residents of Rostov and Volgograd regions, and then for all rear regions to the east and northeast of the Rostov region. In case of fixation, urgently report 112/102. Specify make, model, color, registration, number, exact location. Demand from Russians living in these regions. Later in Russian publics, there was information that the launch of FPV drones took place from a vehicle that looks like a house on wheels, a dark-colored Toyota based on a truck or SUV, a house on wheels with a superstructure over the cabin. There are solar panels on the roof of the van. Russian telegram feeds said in a description the license plate was allegedly stolen from another vehicle. Russian telegram channels reported a danger regarding FPV/UAV launches in Krasny Kut. At the time of publication of the material, neither local authorities nor the Ukrainian side commented on the reports of FPV drone launches from a car. Recall Ukraine's Operation Spider's Web will undoubtedly enter the history books as one of the most remarkable and best executed covert operations of the war, with potential consequences for warfare far beyond the current conflict. According to Ukrainian intelligence, which released information about the June 1st operation, Ukraine used 117 drones to strike several air bases deep within Russia. Ukraine says it damaged or destroyed 41 planes, including bombers that carry strategic cruise missiles. The drones, which were transported close to the bases hidden in the back of trucks and operated remotely, were reportedly able to inflict damage of up to $70 billion at a fraction of the cost. The operation showed that Kiev did in fact hold some of the cards ahead of proposed negotiations in Istanbul, temporarily stunned the Kremlin into silence and dealt a blow to Russia's capacity to launch lethal missile strikes against Ukraine. It also suffered a glimpse into the future of warfare, transformed by access to cheap, widely available technology such as small drones, in which anything, anywhere can become a target. While NATO figures will likely have been impressed by Spider's Web's success, the operation's effectiveness also raises urgent questions about the alliance's own readiness for a future shaped by similar attacks.